you were hitting it. Good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wildcat Stadium on this Saturday night tilt. It's an EAA lacrosse night. Our beloved Eagan Wildcats are hosting the Red Knights from Benilde St. Margaret. The rain has decided to hold off briefly as we did announce, introductions. We just finished the national anthem. The teams are on the field to square off eye to eye, and this hopes to be a quite a contest tonight. Scott, the Knights are in town. We're coming off of a tough one in Shakopee. How does this one shape up at this early stage?
This one's tricky. The Wildcats got to put Thursday behind them and forget about that. It was just bad, right, on all kinds of levels. We talked about it as in the wrap-up Thursday night. The task is pretty tall here tonight. This is quite a team that Benilde rolls into town with. It is a virtual team of all-stars, and even their second and third wave of players would be starters on most varsity squads in the state. So the order is tall. We've been talking about face-offs all year tonight. We faced Jap Bignuski, 80+% face-off wins. He's clearing away the best face-off guy in the state, one of the top face-off guys in the class of 2020 across the country. We have to somehow mitigate that tonight, or Benilde will have the ball in our end 95% of the game. So that tonight, that's the big key, is how do you mitigate that, and how do you say, look, we know we can't win them all, but can we win a few, and can we contain him after he wins some of them?
Here we go. We got Pavic in the circle for the Wildcats, and the referee steps back, and we're off and running here. A little ball flip, and it looks like it's going to be advantage Benilde St. Margaret for the moment. Some tenacious defenses. It looks like that is number 6, Tommy Meisinger, who did recover the ground ball, but it's going to be possession, loose ball push, possession, Red Knights.
So if we can't win the face-offs, there's a theory here that says, hey, if you can create a turnover once they get the ball, if you can disrupt them, that's a quasi-face-off win, and that's how you have to approach the game tonight, because Benusi's going to win most of them, right? It's not an accident when you're 80%, right? He kind of, last year in the state tournament, he was 76%. So can you force turnovers? And so one of the keys to the game for Eagan is mitigate the face-offs and defensive containment. Benilde plays a very deliberate style. They're going to wait for the perfect shot, and they're just going to lull you to sleep and throw the ball in, which is exactly what they're doing right now. They're waiting for the perfect shot. They're waiting for the shot they want to take. They're not going to throw bad shots up.
Well, we talked about that recently in one of their recent games. There was maybe a 4-3 win, maybe even in overtime, and they do seem like they can play a patient style of lacrosse.
Yeah, they do, and you just saw it there when Caleb Storrs broke around the net. Most every player we've seen this year would have tried to force that shot in. The perfect shot wasn't there. He stepped back and distributed the ball, and you can just see how athletic and quick they are. So here, there again, a turnover opportunity tonight. Those, what you'd call those, 50-50 ground balls. We have to win 90% of those tonight. And that's how we kind of mitigate some of the face-off problems with that.
It seems like that game in Shakopee was played a little shabby, as the Red Knights are still working the ball kind of in that perimeter style. Wildcats trying not to give them too much. We play a much cleaner game tonight, and our chances exponentially go up as a little incidental down to the ground. Got a push, kind of a late call on that. Loose push, and the Knights will retain.
So again, watch the what the Knights are doing. They're being patient. It may look like they're playing catch, but it's part of their plan, and they're zipping the ball around, and they're just waiting for the right opportunity. That was a nice defensive play by Zach Merwin. Those are the kind of things we have to do tonight. So again, this is what we got to do. We forced a turnover, a nice defensive play. Now we got to maximize this possession.
Eli Donley takes the midfield stripe, kind of being harassed, and not successfully. The Red Knights are really trying to, we got a push, should be Eagan. Failure to advance.
But Ken, there again, we did everything right. That was a fantastic defensive stand. We got the ball, and then couldn't move it into our own end.
Well, clearly, they're going to play that patient game. If we don't give them the perfect shot, logic would dictate they're going to take less shots, which is partially it's good defense as we get a wide open look here. Oh, off the money. That was number 4, Patty Burns.
So again, what you see is that was really the first shot they've taken, and it was that kind of that top side in that interior area where there's a good shooting lane. It's hard for the goalie to stop those, and that's what they're working towards. Good defense. I like the aggressiveness there that we're seeing.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of body on body, which is good. Sticks are up. Another one off the money, number 3. Caleb Stores with the shot, and Red Knights will retain. That's Soren Thrall behind the net, marked up. Again, a stick or something. What's the referee carrying? Someone's lost a stick. Mr. Meisinger broke his stick, I believe. And we are looking at the wrong end of the stadium for the clock. 8:55 is a pretty good look coming through.
That's Jack Van Overbeek. So, again, Van Overbeek is a talented, quick player, and he made that play. He got through 2 Wildcats, created open space, and got the shot he wanted.
Yeah, right. Kind of a ground ball shot. 1-0 Red Knights. 8:51 remaining. Again, with the patience that the Red Knights look like they want to exercise, and with the lack of clearly good looks that we're giving them, they've got a couple of one good shot, one poor shot, and then a shot that the goal. Pavek's in the circle to take this face-off for the Wildcats against 1-0 Wildcats down. 8:51 remaining in the first.
So again, every turnover we force, every ball on the ground, we have to win and get possession and get a check. And we're 3:10 into the game, and we haven't had an offensive possession yet. And Banuski clearly wins the draw again, and he's going to take it right in. And Banuski's a pretty good athlete. And again,
nice Ward call on Banuski.
Okay, so now Egan's got to get it up. And as we move into the offensive end, every shot's big because we're not going to get that many of them tonight. We got to make everyone count. We can't be taking shots from 25 yards away that are just going to go into Jack Keller's, Benild's goalie's stick, right?
Manny Steele gets the ball with the help of one of his friends across the midfield stripe. Jack Stone takes the touch, and the Cats will set up on basically their first offensive possession tonight, down 1-0, 8 minutes remaining, quarter 1. Wilson to Schultz behind the net, working it in the corner to Colbert. Again, Cats have shown times when they can be patient as well. And
we turned the ball over.
Yep.
A little bit of a sloppy play there, and Benild's got the ball again. We can't. So that's 2 times tonight. Now we had an opportunity we forced a turnover on Benild and couldn't as much as get a shot off. We couldn't get a possession one time, in fact.
Yeah, and it probably starts with a sustained possession because clearly your opponent can't do a lot of damage when they don't have the ball. So it would have been nice to maintain that a bit longer. We're back on defense, and we'll see how the patience game, kind of a chess game, kind of shaping up. That's number 11, Johnny Schiefert. For the Red Knights, throwing it behind the net.
Schiefert, a guy who, again, he's not a starter on this team. On just about every other state in the team, he'd be their star player. That was Matt Dowden, the sophomore. He's accumulated a ton of points. Again, waited for the defense to make a mistake. Got maybe not the best shot, but got the shot he wanted.
2-0 Red Knights, just about 7 minutes remaining, quarter number 1. Cats are going to have to tighten things up here and get some possession time. I think there's clearly, some nerves that you want to shake off when you're in a big game like this, and I think getting the ball and working it around will kind of assist with that. So
yeah, and you know what? We had created or forced 2 turnovers.
Pavek fighting. Wyatt Bucky in there with a nice stick move to keep the ball down. Ball still loose. Red Knights with possession pretty deep in there. As the ball goes back to the goaltender, he's looking, bringing it up out of the box. Got his sights set on the midline stripe, and he might just take it.
Yeah, he's Jack Keller, a junior. He's pretty athletic goalie, and he's gonna push the envelope again.
Big
nice save by Steele. Okay, so now the key is, can we capitalize on a turnover? That was a big save by Manny Steele on a point-blank shot by Van Overbeek. He's got a lethal shot. Now let's slow it down and we give our defense a little bit of a rest here. They've basically been playing all 5.5 minutes of the game, so slow it down, hold on to the ball.
There's a shot to score.
Their little bounce. That's Ben Willery.
Ben Willery, who kind of pushed the issue hand stayed just nice and close enough to his body to prevent any sort of questionable advancement, but he clearly just made a run at the goal. Nice bounce shot. 2-1 Cats, 6 minutes remaining, quarter number 1.
So that they're with again a goalie. Keller's a pretty solid goalie. The word, kind of the scun thing is, hey, maybe a little vulnerable low, right? That might be the one spot of vulnerability. And nice bounce shot there to kind of get a good look in there by a Ben.
Looks like that's Pavic back in the circle, taking that face off. Referee preparing to back out, and the whistle blows. Pavic has, that one was a little bit cleaner than the last one. The ball stayed on the ground quite a while. Red Knights are setting up here with just under 6 minutes remaining, quarter number 1. 2-1 Red Knights over the Wildcats here at Wildcat Stadium. Sun has come out. Shadows being cast on the field as the Knights are setting up. Eli Donley, the senior, on defense there.
That was Caleb Storrs, making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, it was, he kind of fought for position and then just kind of deked out the goalie with kind of a fake shot there. So it could be a tit-for-tat game, and if we can keep participating in that, that might just be the way it has to be for a while. The Cats need possession, just under 6 now, 3-1 Knights.
We talk about we'll talk throughout the telecast about the offensive talent, the firepower, the all-star type roster. It's not as much so on defense, but there's a couple guys that are stars. And we'll get to Tucker Turrington, LSM, Seamus Foley, number 2. He's a Georgetown commit. That's Georgetown Division I. They're in the NCAA tournament. He was one of their first signees last fall. So, again, a pretty high caliber player on the defensive side for the Knights. Nice.
Tommy Meisinger with a nice stick work to get it to Cole Gibson. Cats will have the possession here. Whips with a shot and a score.
So, hey, another bounce there. Did you see that, Ken? That was it was the bounce. And I don't know if that's just how these first 2 goals have played out or if there's an intention by the Wildcats to shoot that way.
Well, that had a lot of opportunity for him to draw a beat on it. So if he is vulnerable and that ball did bounce, it is 3-2 Red Knights with 5:30 remaining. And that was Whips was just inside the box on that shot. So clearly we know now that there is potentially a little vulnerability. And again, too, Scott, we've talked about it. You can't score unless you have possession.
No, and that I think, and then that, if you look at, how Benilde chokes you, they have possession probably 85% of the game. And if you can't convert on your offensive possession, so you can't win. And, what we've seen here is we've had basically 3 possessions. We turned the ball over on 1, got 2 shots on 2 and converted. Budniewski another win. Okay, now again 50-50 ground ball. It's on the ground again, and we didn't come up with it. That's Matt Dowden again. You're kind of seeing why he's putting up some big numbers, the sophomore.
Kind of a rocket of a shot there once he got clear. And again, too, that those, like we talked about this, if we don't win faceoffs, it's nice to be able to slow them down a little bit. Suddenly they were almost in the box, and we were kind of falling back on our heels. And there's guys in red shirts kind of running around wide open when you get to that point of the field so quickly.
Well, and it almost the last couple possessions, Benilde seemed to pick up the tempo a little bit.
It does.
And they're
like that.
Hey. They don't where they want you. They want a 3 or 4 goal lead, and they're just going to slow the game down, and that's what they want to do. And to get again another clean win by Budniewski, and he's probably going to take it up and shoot. Nope, he distributes.
Nice slide by the Wildcat defense. So they're back in their perimeter game. 4-2 Red Knights. 5 minutes remaining, quarter number 1.
So it looks like Benilde's going to set up. That's Van Overbeek again. He's going to again try and create an opening. Not the best shot selection. Again, a little uncharacteristic there for this team that they're typically going to, when they select a slot, it's going to be a good one. That little low percentage shot there.
Yeah, he had a defender on him, kind of a poor angle, and the goaltender as well was kind of in position. So 4:44 remaining, quarter number 1, 4-2 Red Knights with the ball.
And, as you look down there, talk about their results and when they've, again, I'm going to discount the games when they were playing the St. Louis Parks of the world and Chaska's, but when they're playing quality opponents, 7-6, 9-3, 4-3, 9-4, they're completely comfortable playing a low-scoring game. And it's, they're not gonna. Their mojo isn't putting up 20 goals against you, and they could, right?
Clearly, yes. I think that's a really good way of
nice
save.
stop by Steele.
Yep. Steele looking, still looking. It's like Steele over to Cody Rader, who's going to leave the box. He's looking for the stripe. The sophomore back to the goaltender, Steele. And there we got the mid-stripe as Steele dumps it off to, I'm trying to see how it's Drew
Tanner
Wilson.
Whips.
Oh, Tanner Whips.
Yep.
Whips looking. Got a man in the middle.
Nice.
Shot
there,
scored.
that's what you got to do. Get the
Yeah.
ball moving.
Yeah.
The defense was out of position. They weren't ready for that. The Wildcats, there was a couple different places Tanner could have gone there. He could have shot. He had Schultz, which he eventually went to, and he had another player on the far side, too, that was undefended.
Well, we had talked last night during show prep, Scott, about how there's a couple of different aspects to an offense. There's the ones they draw up on the whiteboards Monday through Thursday, and et cetera, et cetera. And then there's the inherent, I know where you're going to be because I've been playing lacrosse with you for 7 years, 8 years. And those real quick bing, bing, bing shot scores, as it looks like it's Pavic in the circle again here, 4-3 Red Knights, 3:44 remaining first quarter. Sometimes those real quick hitters, because these kids have played together so long, are just as effective as that perimeter game. Be selective with your shots.
So that was Drew Nylander taking the face-off for the Red Knights. Banuski getting a little bit of a breather there.
Schultz with the goal, as you may be able to overhear our public address announcer. We're getting up on 3 minutes remaining, quarter one. Red Knights with the ball and the lead, 4-3. Gal is trying to be a little bit of an annoyance to number 18. That's Shea Kinney-Leonard for the Red Knights. They take it back out of the box. They're, again, back in kind of patient mode. They're looking for a shot. Cat's not giving up too much. Ball behind the net.
That's Dowden again.
Big save. Annoyed by the defender. Big shot. Big save. Red Knights maintain. Looks like there's going to be a flag down. Probably some sort of a slash.
There we'll get a stoppage.
And we'll get a stoppage as the ball kind of glances off Manny Steele and goes out of bounds. We'll have our assistant to the executive producer give us the deets on that penalty flag.
Be on Sorenthrall for the slash there. 1 minute, huh? So, boy, it didn't look that egregious, but the call's the call.
Cats will be in their first man down. Red Knights in their first man up. Again, the issue here is get that ball on the ground, get possession, and get it out of your end and move it around.
Look at how compact they're working. They've just, Boy, they just shrunk the field. They brought that down into like a 15 by 15 box and said, which you think would work in the defense's favor when you're down a man. It's like, I dare you to come and challenge us.
Right.
And
so we're 2:29 remaining, quarter one here. Sun has kind of slipped behind a cloud or two. We're dry at the moment. Lights are on. Scoreboard power is working. We're good to go all the way around. Looks like we have a face-off change.
Yeah, that spot's been a little rough since the first game here, and we've seen that a couple times.
We've got trying to find who that is. Is that 32? Is that Ryman?
Yeah, I think that's Ryman. We haven't seen him. Yeah, that is Ryman. He's earlier in the season he took some more draws. First time we've seen him here for a couple games.
Red Knights with the possession, 22 against 22 over there. Dumped into the corner. Soren Thrall on the markup. Deeper behind, 5-on-4. Number 5 for the Red Knights. It's Matt Dowden. Merwin covering, and that is a turnover.
So what we're seeing, Ken, is Eagan's shown they can force some turnovers. Even though the faceoffs aren't working, that's 4 now that we forced, but we can't convert on all of them to get that possession into our offensive end.
Stone's got the midfield stripe. Timeout Eagan,
Okay,
I'm
good
guessing. Call. Yeah. Merwin took the ball up, found Stone right at the mid stripe. 2 guys in red jerseys found him. He got the midfield stripe, but he couldn't go any further. Timeout Eagan.
So, boy, if you can force the turnovers, which Eagan's showing they can do, that's good, right? That's hard to do against this team. Now it's about converting them and keeping the ball in our sticks and getting our offense some shots. We really despite our 3 goals, we've maybe been in their end now a minute or less.
Yeah, no, they've clearly got advantage possession. It's been it has been an interesting game given the fact that we have not had our requisite amount of possession, but we have caused some turnovers, and B, I think the unforced errors, which were just rampant when we were south of here in Shakopee. Clearly, the Cats have cleaned their game up, and again, this is a quality team. So 5-3 in the first, playing with Benilde with some of our possession issues from the face-off circle, some of our recent kind of raggedy style of play. We're moving the ball smartly. We're seeing the field well. If there is a minor guffaw with a pass, someone's right there to pick up the ball and keep it moving. So we got 1:51 remaining, 5-3 Red Knights. Eagan's going to come out of their timeout here, and we're going to wind this first quarter down here very shortly.
Boy, you gotta keep this issue close, right? Benilde wants to come in and get a 4-goal lead and put you to sleep, right? And just do their game. And again, we talked about the results, or that's clearly what they're doing. Prior Lake was the one squad, again, that's been able to hang with them. And one way you can beat these guys is by playing incredibly disciplined, aggressive defense, which we know Prior Lake does. They took them to overtime. That one approach, and we're forcing those turnovers. Now they've got 5, but let's see what we can do here. Got to have a really good possession here. Ooh, that looked a little bit like a revert to Thursday night.
These are clearly these are the things that kind of came us, we stumbled hard when you have these unforced errors. So we'll get past it and we will move on. It's going to be the Red Knights ball. Referee kind of backing up the Wildcats. We got 3 guys trying to make sure he doesn't have a clear shot at the stripe. Ball does come across the mid-stripe. Red Knights with the ball. We're just about a minute and a half remaining, quarter number 1.
I think what this game's going to come down to is when Eagan forces the turnovers and the mistakes, can they convert and hold on? And so far, haven't been able to do that enough. There's been, the most recent turnover, a couple turnovers early, got failure to advance. Got to capitalize.
Pretty tough defense, and looks like Meisinger is Johnny on the spot. He's got really good hands. Couple of little footing issue. He's still fighting for it. And it's going to be Red Knights, but showed some tenacity there. Red Knights will set up again. We're at the 1-minute mark, and just under 5-3 Red Knights here at Wildcat Stadium. There's a turnover. Looks like a failure to advance. So that's kind of a mental mistake, I believe, on the Red Knights. And see if the Cats can capitalize. Jack Stone, the ball carrier at the moment, gets the touch back up top to Cole Gibson, over to Whips, and the Cats will take a look here with 28 seconds remaining, quarter number 1. Well advised to get a quality shot off if they're able.
Yeah, and you want to run this one down a little bit, too. You don't want to give Benilde another possession here inside of 10 seconds.
And we are at the 15-second mark. Whips will take it from Schultz. A little spin move and looking. Wilson. We're gonna go time for one more, maybe.
5 seconds, so it's got to be a quick maneuver here. Oh.
0.5 remaining.
Tough to get
That's
one
gonna
off.
do it. All right, so quarter number 1 in the books. It's 5-3, the Red Knights leading this contest on this Saturday night. A little rain came through earlier. We only saw a couple of instances where we thought the footing might be questionable. And we are going to hand it over to Scott here in the box. We're going to do our first of 2 senior spotlights tonight. So, Scott, take it away.
So, yeah, we amongst a number of issues Thursday night, we neglected to do our senior spotlight. We were maybe a little rusty and sloppy like the squad on the field. So we'll catch up tonight. We'll do one after the first quarter, one after the third quarter, and get back on pace. Tonight, our first one, Soren Thrall, senior defenseman for the Wildcats. This is another one of these good stories that we talk about where you tell players don't give up on the process before the process gives up on you. So Soren, in his first year in the program, played on the 9-10 team. Worked his way to the JV team as a sophomore. Spent time between JV and varsity. Last year, as a senior, he's a varsity starter, helping anchor the defensive squad. So you've heard this theme with one of these other ones says like, it's not about where you start, it's about where you end. And if you end and you're a starter for the varsity, that's a pretty nice career, right?
Absolutely.
So Soren has really demonstrated that. Parents' names are Keely and Eric. He was a Northview Elementary alumnus. Just a good, strong defender. We see, certainly his strength is in that man up on the ball. He's strong, good little center of gravity. Thrives in those man-on situations and does a nice job for the Cats. So. Another great thing here, he's going to get an opportunity to play college lacrosse next year. He'll be going to Lewis University, a Division II program that's actually brand new. They start up for the first time in the fall. So, again, from the 9-10 team to playing Division II lacrosse. So, great accomplishment, right? He's going to get a chance to continue his career and play some more lacrosse, and I think there's some good things ahead for him. So, Soren, thanks for your contributions and efforts, and we wish you nothing but the best in your academics and lacrosse at Lewis University.
Absolutely well done. That's Patrick Ryman, the freshman, in on the face-off, and a miscue on the part of the Red Knights. It's going to be possession Wildcats here as quarter number 2 gets underway. 5-3 Red Knights. That's Eli Donley back to the goaltender, Manny Steele. And he's going to get it up ahead to what looks to be Colby Sorensen as we try to take the midline stripe, and we do. And the Cats will set up down 2 goals here early in the second quarter. Max Meekin running it into the box and behind the net. So in quarter number 2, Scott, the Cats probably say, let's get and sustain some possessions.
Yeah, give our defense a little bit of a rest. Let them catch their breath. They're working hard, right? Give them a little breath. And it's encouraging that we're forcing some turnovers, whether we're forcing them or Benild's making some mistakes. But we got to capitalize on them. We got to keep possession. And somehow Drew came out.
Big save.
Oh, there's going to be a flag and another. Probably the same infraction.
Yeah, clearly Ryan Colbert almost came up with Johnny on the spot. Ball gets kicked outside the crease, and then a quick dump inside for a really huge save, and then a couple of flags hit the ground. Cats with possession right now, and they're looking at a man-up situation as Colby Sorensen steps out of the box briefly and takes a look.
Hey, you don't change your game plan here. It's like we've got the ball, and no matter what happens, they can't have possession of it, because if the ball drops, the clock stops, the penalty is going to get assessed. So run the game plan. Don't change it. Hopefully we can take advantage of convert here a little bit.
There's Meekin over to Willery, who runs behind the net. And again, as Scott said, Cats do have that perpetual possession. Be selective here when the ball hits the if in fact we lose possession, the whistle will blow. So Wilson looking inside to Schultz. Oh, he just missed to the goaltender's right.
Hey, that was a good look.
Huge look.
Good look.
And again, too, you almost thought maybe Wilson was going to let her rip from up high, but he saw Schultz down low, and a real quality shot just off the money.
So, again, we get some extended. Okay, a minute.
1 minute cross-check penalty being assessed against the Red Knights.
Dylan Rash, junior, 11th grader midfielder.
Cats first man up, possibly.
Yep, first one. Good opportunity here. Good, some extended possession. That's not the. Oh boy, that's not the right thing to do there, Ken.
No, you want to. They've been really good about looking for quality shots, and we want to get that possession ratio kind of back towards even as Donley is trying to be annoyant over there, and there's another footing issue, and Donley kind of hustles in. Timeout red is what we're thinking up here in the box, with a real precarious position that the gentleman that had the ball was in. Yeah, so the Cats have done a pretty good job about not squandering possessions. We completely understand the slight and potentially growing sense of urgency. We're not even a quarter of the way into quarter number 2. We're down to 5-3, 9:33 remaining. So while I'm sure every guy on the in blue wants to find the back of the net, they've shown success getting it right up on the doorstep, and that might be the direction they try to head moving forward.
I think so. You get that movement. You get a lot of activity going around, and we did we did have a little longer one. I think it was our second goal was from out, but again a bouncer. You got to be a little selective with the shots here and step back and be patient and get a good scoring opportunity. And the challenge with this now is we had a minute man up situation, and now Benil, the team that can play catch and keep it away from you better than anybody is.
Killed the ball back.
Yeah, we gave him the ball back, right? And now, they're going to try to finish off this man down and get evened up here. So,
all right. So 9:33 remaining quarter number 2, 5-3 Red Knights. Red Knights are a man down. 30 seconds left in that man down for the Red Knights, as they do have possession behind the Wildcat net, and that is, I believe. Just get a number there. Is that Meakin back there who's marked up against number 1 for the Red Knights?
Pretty nice defense there. We're going to get a flag. So, again, we talk about the ramifications of what happened in the offensive end. Possession to turnover, and they score, and now they're going to be up, man up.
Yeah, that couldn't have been a more perfect storm for the Red Knights. They're, getting possession while they're down, working the ball, and then as the shot and the goal, a flag in favor or against the Wildcats. So penalty was nullified. So we are, from what I can gather, there's a brief amount of time that is still to be served on the man down for the Red Knights.
Yeah, I thought we're probably about 15 seconds or so, give or take. Boy, look at Banuski just clamp down on that. Makes it look really, really easy, and it's certainly, we know it's not, but making it look pretty easy.
I didn't get the number of that Wildcat in the face-off circle. It was not someone, as far as I can gather, that we've seen thus far tonight. Could have been Pavic, maybe, but I did not see. Oh, that was Zach Jacobson. Bubba Jacobson took that face-off for the Wildcats, and then I believe scurried off. So it's Red Knights possession. 8:40 remaining quarter number 2. Benilde St. Margaret up 6-3.
So we got to talk a little bit about Thursday night, right? I think tonight, despite the what the scoreboard says, I thought Manny had that. Got through.
Hugely tossed flag by the referee. I almost didn't think that thing was coming down. So we have a shot score. Benilde, scoreboard reads 7-3 Benilde at the moment. 8:25 remaining second quarter, and we have a flag.
Body check.
Body check, 1 minute.
Looking like 22.
It's going to be on Eli Dolney. Maybe Eli lapsed back and was thinking about a hockey game and thought I could do a little body check, and unfortunately not quite to the degree he did there. But,
no, and so as you're down 4 goals, you're going to be a man down as well for 1 minute. At any point here, there's going to be like a moment of the game when we can look back and say that's kind of where we climbed back in this, or we stopped the bleeding long enough to slow things down. We're down 4, 8:21 remaining. We're down a man.
And on Benilde's last man up, they just they just compress down. They're trying to shrink the field, and they dare you to come after them.
Yeah, they're very fast.
God, look at that ball movement.
Yeah, they move the ball around crisply, even in that tight formation. And again, too, if a defender commits and steps up, I think they believe they're fast enough to either get a pass off or to sidestep the guy.
That ball is just zipping around there. That's it's something we haven't really seen yet this year. Now a big opportunity. Jack Thompson came up with that.
With the ground ball, he's looking, and we are down a man. We went back to Manny Steele. Manny gets it up to Soren Thrall, and looks like it's over to Wyatt Bucky, up to Gallus, who's going to get well across the mid-stripe. He's looking. And
failure to advance.
So
again, a forced turnover and a man down, and we couldn't convert that opportunity. It feels like that's maybe becoming a little bit of the theme of the game so far. Is there have been 6, 7 where we forced turnovers, got possession back, and in most cases, we can't convert it.
Yeah, or at least maintain possession for very long. It seems like we haven't maintained
Patty
that
Burns on the
possession.
rip there. Again, that compact, quick movement, and you're looking, it's happening so fast.
Well, in addition to that, there's a lot of bodies out front of that net with that tighter formation. So
It makes it hard for the goalie.
Clearly 7:17 remaining first half. Benilde up by 4, 7-3. Go back to the circle here, and I think we're taking a look and seeing, looks like Pavic is going to take a knee and give it a whirl. He's going up against number 7, Drew Nylander.
Okay, goal 4-22.
So one of the, I think, you know what, Benilde's playing this game at a much faster pace than they normally do. Again, they normally score 8 goals in a game, and they've got 8 goals now halfway through the second quarter. They're almost kind of like they're trying to play at a faster pace and counter what they're maybe anticipating. Eagan playing at a faster pace. When the last couple times these two squads have met, Eagan was trying to run Benilde off the field, and Benilde was trying to slow the game down and play their game. And in one case, it worked in Eagan's favor. One case worked in Benilde's favor. But Benilde's trying to move a little fast, and especially on those man-ups, and they've had a couple of them. They're two of the 8 goals on a man-up. So now they're back into that, slow it down, wait for the right shot.
So 6:30 remaining, 8-3 Benilde. And again, so at what point, when the Cats do maintain possession, there's going to come a point when the clock, not now, but at a point the clock will become a bit of an issue, and patience is no longer, an option. As Soren Thrall helps that ball find the ground.
There now can we convert? And I like Jack Stone's got the ball. This is where he can use his speed and to run away from some of these other players on Benilde St. Mark, and that can be a huge advantage for the Wildcats.
So Stone takes the midline stripe and gets up to the box for the touch. Now the Cats will set up, and again, too, we still have time to be selective, plenty of time, but we clearly need to maintain some possession here, take the heat off the defenseman and the goalie. Tanner Whips down in the corner for the Wildcats, kind of surveying the land. Kind of hits the accelerator, and he's looking. Defender not biting on the fake shot, and kind of got spun around. Ball hits the ground. Benilde is their number 2, their defenseman off to the goalie. Damian Schultz is giving him all sorts of heck. Kind of a scary pass, which didn't intend to land, but did. And the Red Knights will get their touch. Little footing issue. Timeout Red.
Okay, yeah, they wanted to make sure they got that timeout, waste that possession. So we're sitting here talking about, hey, the Wildcats aren't converting. They're forcing turnovers. They're not converting. I believe they're playing better than they played Thursday night, right? Although I understand we're down 8-3, and again, different opponents, but it feels like some of that stuff that was going on Thursday night, it's not happening. There's other issues here tonight, but which is encouraging. Would you say so, Ken, or are we maybe I'm being a little too optimistic here? No,
I mean, by comparison, there is none as far as how kind of ragtag the game was. There was so many scoring opportunities where the offensive guy who was going to take the shot just a millisecond before the ball was firmly in his stick. So from a mistakes point of view, I don't think there's any comparison. It's a much cleaner game. Now, as far as, the lacrosse IQ of taking a good shot, the lacrosse IQ of maintaining possession when you're a man up, the lacrosse IQ of just taking a deep breath and converting once you force a turnover, those are the things that are kind of haunting us right now as we have a stick violation. It's raining yellow. So I'm going to have to take a look and see where the sticks came from. And looks like it's, would that be one on both sides, Scott?
I don't know.
Looks like it is. It looks like Damian Schultz is turning his stick over to the stick technician. And number 5.
So we'll have a little fun with this one, right? These are So Matt Dowden has kind of exploded onto the scene this year, the leading scorer for the Red Knights. Damian Schultz, we've talked at length about him, about his craftiness and ability to make things happen. It's like, Oh, that's their secret. They use an illegal pocket or an illegal stick
Deep
head, and
pockets.
folks, we're being facetious, of course. It's just the fact that it happened to both of them at the same time
Right.
is just we're gonna have a little fun with that. So
5 minutes remaining, a 5-goal advantage by the Red Knights as we've got one from each squad on the sideline for some depth of their pockets. The Red Knights have the ball and they're working that perimeter, but they do look that right now their little clusters a little bit more spread out. They are each team's down a man, and we are going to have to see if the pace doesn't change for one or both teams. The Cats probably need to up their game pace-wise just a little bit.
yeah, this probably favors the Red Knights a little bit. Certainly speed on Eagan's side of the ball, and we've talked about that numerous times in here, but equally as much, if not. That was Shea Kenny Leonard. Again, got that shot he wanted.
He did get the shot he wanted, and he wasn't completely unabated. Meisinger was actually playing pretty decent defense.
Yeah.
Stick check, stick slap. He cleared him by about a half a step, just enough to get the shot off. Meisinger may have, kind of partially obstructed the goaltender inadvertently, but got the shot he wanted. 9-3, 4 minutes remaining.
It's a tough team. There's so many highly skilled players to concentrate on. You forget about a player like Kenny Leonard. He's one of the few seniors on this squad, just as able to score as the others. And it's like, again, a player who he would be the star on just about any other team in the state. He's getting regular minutes, but kind of a role player, right? And he can score, right? So, Benilde, looking at this roster, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seniors. 5. I mean, you're going to have 20 of these guys coming back next year. And virtually all key positions covered. They'll need to find Tucker Turrington as the senior LSM. You need to replace that person. But, again, most of the scoring's coming back, most of the key positions coming back. So here we go. Again, a forced turnover. Fantastic. Now can you capitalize and convert?
Wildcats looking a little sloppy on a couple of consecutive passes, as that's Max Meekin who gets the ground ball. Starting to survey the land, and looks like...
What was the call? Ward on Max
Ward
Meekin.
on Meekin.
Again, another. I feel like we should kind of be keeping track of these things, Ken, because the Wildcats are doing a lot of things right. They're just not capitalizing on the things that they've done to turn this game around.
Yeah, they're definitely doing their share of damage, too, as it looks like that's Joey Gallus. He lost the hoodie since warm-ups, and he was over there pounding away pretty effectively on someone, and that might be an aspect of the game we talked about against the Shakopee team. If people are going to be able to step around you and get quality shots, and we're not seeing exactly how deep in the pockets the yellow flags are, we've got to get more physical. And I just don't know that. I mean, we were talking about it on Thursday, and that could be part of the equation again here tonight.
Nice save there. Picked up the rebound. That was Caleb Storrs again right there to pick it up. And
yeah, I think Manny made the initial save, and it may have gotten out of his stick just a little bit. And right on the doorstep of the crease was the Red Knight defender who picked it up and just kind of plunked it in. 10-3 Red Knights with just over 2 minutes remaining. Some personnel changes for the Wildcats, and looks like Pavic's going to come back into the circle. At this point here, we need possession, and then I don't know that we need necessarily to be squandering possession with shots that we don't see as quality.
No.
It's the first half. I think there's still plenty of time to say, hey, can we work a goal out of this first half still?
Yeah,
and see what happens.
I mean, what's getting a little concerning is about this. On top of Thursday, they've got a 7-goal lead, and making it look pretty easy because we're making our own mistakes. Oh, boy, a 1-on-0. Good opportunity there. Colby Sorensen couldn't put it behind the net. We do retain possession. So it's on the psyche, right? You'd like to make something happen here right at the end of the second quarter to go into halftime and say, okay, let's play our game. Let's do what we got to do and work our way back in this. But, don't quite feel like we're in a rhythm offensively, and we just haven't had the ball long enough
I think
to establish that rhythm.
I would agree 100%. That's exactly why we're having a hard time getting into a zone, because we just haven't had the ball extended periods of time. Jack Stone with a big rip. Cats will maintain. Excuse me, on that last play by Colby Sorensen, I don't know that he fully grasped just what was going on there.
No, because you don't get too many of those one-on. I mean, he ran for 30 yards and had a couple seconds. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I think he clearly he scores on 99 out of 100 of those, and that's the one, because it's the first one probably, and maybe the last one, unfortunately, where you go, wow, this is going to just be so easy, and it's not.
It's almost better to not have that time to think. It's almost better to just get it and get it and shoot.
Yeah, pick a spot and take a rip. Oh, that's kind of pretty quality shot by Colbert, kind of the backhand scoop. Schultz is going to maintain and dumps it back out to Colbert, who's looking. Oh, boy.
A little high there, a little high, but we still look like we're going to maintain possession.
Minute 30 remaining, first half. Ben Willery over to Wilson. 10-3 Red Knights.
Mid, yep.
Pretty quality shot there, probably by Damian Schultz, just to the left of the goaltender.
So this is, again, we're getting a little rhythm here, but it's probably our most extended possession of the game so far.
Which speaks volumes, because it hasn't been excessive by any stretch.
No.
But we'll start somewhere as Stone takes a look. He tries to find, did it make it in?
Yep,
Looks
got
like
in.
It did.
Snuck in there. Again, another low shots look to be the key here. Our 4 goals have all either been on bounces or come low at Keller's feet. So there's a formula here. We can't hurt ourselves in taking advantage of opportunities, and we got to have that possession. Our 4 goals, I don't know, what do you think, Ken? What have we had the ball in? There maybe 3 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, it has not been very, very long.
Again, this goes back to previous games. We say, wow, if
the score, right?
Yeah, it's up. Yeah, again, if we've maybe been in their end for 3 out of 23 minutes, again, what if that could have been 7 of 23, which is still like way on the short side? We can score, we can convert, we just need to have the ball.
So Whips was in the circle there and gave chase as the Red Knights, with 55 seconds remaining, won the faceoff and ripped a shot and maintained possession. And they have possession now with 45 seconds remaining, and they're setting up. Both teams at full strength.
I think this one's big, Ken. I think if you go in down 7, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, and the casual observer would say 7, 6, whatever. If we can get a stop here, because clearly they want a goal before they head to the sideline.
Do. They absolutely do.
Gallus is marked up.
It's absolutely more mental than anything.
Big save.
Big stop, and we're going to get a shot here if we can hang on to it.
And we looks like we just.
Jeez. Again, how many times, right? How many times did we do? That was a huge, huge save by Manny Steele to thwart a scoring opportunity, and looked like we were going to be able to get down and get one, right? Maybe have one last look at the net and a chance to go in 10-5.
Horns about to sound here. And we will go to the locker room. So kind of a partial victory on that last series of possessions. Benilde could not find the back of the net. Cats did force a turnover but couldn't convert, which has been the new unforced error for the Wildcats tonight, not being able to convert. So the teams will find their corners of the field to discuss the first half. Scott, so anything surprise you as we head to halftime?
No, Benilde's as advertised, right? Their star players that we touched on are their star players. Benuski's, I think, maybe has lost 1 faceoff, and there's been 14, 15. They're as advertised as good. I think defensively they're a little more vulnerable. And, again, the story of this half, and you just touched on it, if Egan's been forcing turnovers, if they can convert and capitalize on those things and have a little bit more possession, this game's a little closer, but unfortunately they haven't been able to capitalize, and you gotta have the ball more than 3 minutes.
Well, and that's exactly it too. I mean, let's not put the cart before the horse here. Let's get possession and not force that turnover and then somehow give it back right away. Yep. The goals will come. So here we are sitting 10-4 in favor of the visiting Red Knights at Wildcat Stadium. The Shadows are back on the field. Cats are down on the south end of the stadium on the Porta Pits. getting ready to discuss what transpired, including any potential changes. Red Knights on the north end. This is Scott and Ken. We're in the booth. Jesse's on the roof. Mr. Mills is keeping us apprised of penalties, et cetera, et cetera. You can hear the PA guy in the background. We'll take a break. We'll be back in 9 minutes. It's 10-4, Red Knights over the Wildcats at Wildcat Stadium. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live in the box. Second half getting underway. We just did an extensive EAA drawing. Third quarter underway here shortly. Looks like it is Robbie Otto possibly in the middle stripe, or in the middle circle. 10-4 Red Knights. They win the face-off, and they're setting up.
I should have registered. Really? Jeez.
Timeout Red.
Oh, 15 seconds in.
So I think the second half. So the Wildcats are down by 6. I think what you want to do in the second half is try to tell the team, okay, you can force the turnovers, you can get opportunities. Let's start converting some of those, and let's just slowly work on that time of possession in Benild's end, and try to establish some kind of rhythm and cadence, and try to claw your way back into this game. We can score against Keller and the Knights defense. We need to give ourselves the opportunities to do that.
Yeah, clearly we need possession, and when we do force a turnover or we are opportunistic and pick up a ground ball, if they happen to let it out of their stick unintentionally, we need to maintain possession.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, again, I think we mentioned it before the half, that's kind of becoming the story of this game, and not to, take anything. The Knights have played a pretty solid game here. Taking advantage of what we give them, but that's kind of the storyline right now. And again, for the Wildcats, we're after today, we're down to 3 regular season games, some pretty big conference matchups, and you need to, again, they've looked a little better. I think a lot better than some of the stuff that happened Thursday night. But you got to make sure your psyche, your mental state is ready to make that final push down the balance of the conference season. And you start that by having a good second half here.
Yep, Zach Wallach with the big save finds Meekin, who finds Schultz, who had a nice shot with another big save. Yeah, you bring up a really valid point here. Here's an unforced error, scooped up by, looks like, Colt Gibson to Wilson, who's looking for a shot, looking for some help as well. Potentially a little stick to the head there. Goes back up top to Gibson. Over to Whips. We talked off air during the half that, assuming that this game, at least as far as who's in the lead, holds, all is not lost. So the Cats clearly have to maintain some composure if they're unable to climb back into this one. Everything goal-wise for the season is still effectively on the table.
Yeah. So if you talk about what you want to do, win the South Suburban Conference, it does not matter what happens tonight with this game. If the Wildcats beat Rosemount, Eastview, and Prior Lake, mission accomplished. Check it off. We will be South Suburban Conference champions. Second goal, winning the section. If you win your last 3 games, probably going to be a 1 or a 2 seed, probably a 2. You're putting yourself in position to compete for and win the section championship and get to state. Check. And you don't want to let an outcome here affect that. And the Wildcats no matter what happens in the second half, they need to be ready for those closing 3 games that'll happen over the next week and a half. Yep. And it's just critical to have a good second half and build some momentum and just the little things, right? And again, so we're forcing some turnovers and we're not able to capitalize and pick up those ground balls.
Yeah, balls are clearly getting more physical, which is good for both sides. But looks like the Red Knights will maintain possession.
So yeah, it just established some momentum, and 6-goal deficit against a team like this is a little tricky, right? But it can be done. You can climb your way back in one at a time. We're forcing them to make errors. We're just still not capitalizing on those yet.
9 minutes remaining, quarter number 3. 10-4 Red Knights with possession. And again, too, you might see that pace of play by the Red Knights slow itself down a little bit as number 11 for the Red Knights kind of sidesteps and dumped it behind the net. Kind of an ineffective pass, did get there. Soren Thrall marked up on number 1, Van Overbeck, for the Red Knights as he makes a run for the Ball in the crease, picked up by Jack Stone. He is quick enough to get himself out of trouble.
Number 5 on 5 here.
Right
It's a
on.
race, and it looks like our number 5 is going to win. Again, huge advantage that we have with Jack Stone running that ball up the field. Critical way that we can attack a team like this and, play like that as we move into the final stretch of the conference schedule and section play. That's critical, right? That's a huge advantage for us and a huge weapon that we have.
Cats with possession right now, and again, we've talked extensively about them trying to run some time in their favor with the ball, and it looks like that, oh boy, kind of a give and go there. A give and didn't go, as I think that might have been, no, who was right, loose ball push. I think it was Stone right on the crease that. I just tried to bat it in, and goaltender was right there.
Yeah, couldn't quite in here. Now, again, Forstener, as the goalie's getting careless. Can we come up with a big ground ball?
Yeah, it was a real nice shot there by Schultz. I mean, it clearly was just kind of thrown back that way, but he was on the ground practically and had no.
Yeah, he knew the goalie was out, and he was like, hey, I think I'm just going to snap my wrist and see if this one might roll in. And,
it almost did as well.
Yeah.
Refs are letting it go right now. Our players play on as the Cats come up with that ground ball.
So you noted that they're becoming more physical. I wonder if part of the message on the high jump pits was get your rear ends in the game and let's make something happen.
Yeah, they're going to get him on a ward, which is unfortunate. Not sure that he had to do that necessarily.
No.
He threw the clean shoulder, and the Red Knight was being knocked well back. And unfortunately, he just kind of finished him with the arm and didn't go well because the ball on the bounce, the low bounce shot did go in the net. So no goal, 10-4 Red Knights. 7 minutes remaining, quarter 3.
Matt down there. Matt likes that. He likes to come up on the. He likes that move. We've seen him use that a number of times. Again, can we capitalize here?
Meekin streaking. He's got a guy. He found Sorensen. Oh boy, it would have been a great pass. Would have been to Schultz, who helped in. He was in on the mugging as the ball comes loose and across the stripe.
That's Tucker Turrington, the LSM. We mentioned him earlier in the telecast. So once again, a turnover.
6:24 remaining, 10-4 Red Knights.
I think if somebody, if we would have talked for a telecast and said, hey, guys, the Wildcats are going to force about 12 to 15 turnovers by midway through the third quarter, what do you think? We would have been like,
ran us off the air.
We're gonna be in this game, and we might be winning the game.
Right, precisely. But and it's the ability to finish that's kind of been our Achilles heel right now.
So you got to take away some wins. All right, guys, we can, again, had we forced turnovers this way in the Shakopee game, contest over, right?
Yeah,
we
I
win
would
that game.
agree.
And so you can think back to some other tough stretches during the season where we had some tough quarters. We weren't able to force turnovers. We're forcing turnovers against you can make an argument this is offensively the best team in the state, right?
Clearly.
Yeah. I think that they have, they have more depth on the offensive side than anybody else. And, we're not saying they're necessarily the best team. Minnetonka and Stillwater and Eden Prairie might have, well, maybe not Eden Prairie, but, I have something to say about that. But those squads might be a little stronger defensively, right? So if we're arguably the best offensive team in the state, if we can force them into making turnovers, that's great.
Boy, you watched a lengthy exchange down to the left of the Red Knights goaltender where the bodies were just colliding. Cats kind of maintained possession, did get off a shot, and they will start it up again here. Tanner whips up top. Ball never quite made it through to its intended recipient.
Yeah, again, just maybe you can credit the defense on that a little bit, but again, just a little, touch, little, just a little not crisp, right?
All right.
Nice, wow, nice conversion.
Red
there.
Knights are pushing the issue pretty quickly here. And now they might pull that where they're going to slow the pace down just a wee bit here. 4:30 remaining, quarter number 3.
Yeah, I mean, they're at the point in the game now, you're 16 and a half minutes left in the game. They can just execute the Benilde St. Margaret offense, and they'll get out of here with a win, right? So, again, Egan's got to step up, be aggressive, and force the issue a little bit. And there's risks in that, right? if you try to make an aggressive stance, can they get on you? But at this point, this is what you have to do to try and get back in the game.
Yeah, clearly we talked earlier about, maybe not necessarily time to really advanceably
That was
pick
a
up. Yeah,
great
play by
play.
Donley.
Yeah.
Soren Thrall with the ground ball.
You cannot. That's
So it's probably at that point now where the Cats can say we've got to pick up. There's an offsides, it looks like.
There's a flag, and it might have been number 5 might have
Yeah.
been talking. That's Matt Dowd.
He might
Sorry,
have been
Matt,
talking. It looked like
Matt
he got
Dowd.
out of bounds before he crossed the line. We'll see what the call is.
I don't know. I mean, I saw Dowden talking. I saw the referee looking at him, and I saw the flag go. Oh, well, he was okay. So he was.
So he did not stay on his rightful
Our
side.
apologies. He was not saying things he wasn't supposed to the ref. He just got offside by a step and was probably upset with himself.
So the Cats will have a man-up situation.
So our first two, our previous 2 man-ups, we didn't capitalize, right? We turned the ball over, didn't maybe have the best shot selection. Let's see if we can improve that this time.
Whips to Wilson. Oh, and again, too, they're looking inside, but the passes weren't, ridiculously crisp, and it's going to be man-up kind of.
So, yeah, we're 15 seconds in, and, turnover, and off we go. But I think that's going to be can be part of the, as we move into Tuesday's game, Tuesday's telecast. How do you capitalize on the turnovers? How do you capitalize on the man-ups? Because even a little bit of that tonight, we have a different ball game.
I haven't gotten the thing from
Oh, just a real quick give and go there that did not connect, but a nice save, and it looks like there's going to be a push possibly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll be on
Push against
push.
Eagan.
Yep.
Red Knights will maintain.
So see Benil now really trying to spread the field a little bit. Looks like they've got their there's 6. They're back at full strength. That's a great save by Zach Wallach. So we talked earlier about the Red Knights being a little more selective in their shots. Matt Dowden is a sophomore, a younger player, less time this time. He appears to rush and force things maybe a little bit more than a Van Overbeek or a Stores or a Patty Burns, and just maybe not enough quite patience yet. And he's taken a couple of those shots that Eagan has been able to get possession. So younger guy trying to force things to happen, take shots you maybe not want to take.
Ben Willery with kind of an extended carrying of the ball, finally gets it back up top. Looks like that's Cole Gibson who's looking back over to Willery. Damian Schultz working his way out from behind the net. Willery kind of pushing the issue, kind of got attacked. Big shot, Johnny on the spot. Tanner Whips with the loose ball, picked it off out of midair, turned and shot.
Yeah, it looked like the ball had gotten knocked loose, and Tanner Whips was in the right place, right time, got a hold of it, and was able to put it back. So, hey, you know what? We converted.
I'd say no assist because it got stick checked out of his stick.
So 10-5.
No assist.
10-5 here. Let's see if we can, hold this count here. Maybe, again, we can force some turnovers, and let's see if we get one more shot here. 10-6, be a good result. We're at 10-5 right now.
1:40 remaining. Number 7, Drew Nylander with the win.
1 minute, 40 seconds remaining. Wildcats goal second in the game for Tanner Whips, unassisted, with 1:40 remaining, third quarter.
So it looks like no big change for Benilde here.
Meisinger forcing the turnover, at least the ground ball.
That should be Eagan ball. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
it is.
Again,
Nice.
another forced turnover. That's a fantastic defensive play. And now we've got 1 minute and 10 seconds to work with. Let's see if we can get another one in. Again, talking about building that momentum. Hey, if you can climb your way back in this game and win the second half, right, that's big.
Yeah, I think the MO right now is keep it manageable. Looks like Stone tried to get a shot off, came out of his stick, took a kind of a high shot, to the face mask, possibly. Ball turned over 45 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be that player is down. Unfortunately, that might be a 3-minuter. That is Caleb Stores, or sorry, Patty Burns that's down. That was a big hit. I don't think that was intentional. I think Tanner was looking to deliver contact there. It's just the timing and where the stick ended up, and I don't know, Ken, what do you think? Did it look worse than it was?
Yeah, I think that's probably exactly what happened. I mean, he clearly was intending to check the guy. And again, too, there's a lot of shock value in some of these hits, and I think everybody kind of gets a little, it's not a game where big hits are the norm, so everybody gets a little out of their lane as far as that goes. And some of the players were having to kind of be pulled off of, kind of coming up to whips and the officials, and I think everybody needs to. Take a nice deep breath here and understand fans in the crowd, calling for ejections and stuff.
No, not at all.
So let's just see what the actual infraction is and how long it's going to be.
2 or is it 3?
We got an Eagan penalty on 22, illegal body check, contact to the head, and targeting. So that's a 3-minute full time and an ejection.
Yeah, okay, so Tanner, so 2 things will happen. So what they said was illegal body check, contact to the head, and targeting. So that gets you 3-minute unreleasable penalty, and that'll be a game ejection for Tanner Whips. So Benild's going to be man up now for the next 3 minutes. So I don't agree with the targeting. And now Benild's going to be, this thing might get a little out of hand here.
Again, too, I mean, the ref saw what he saw. Targeting's a difficult call because you're being forced to determine that you knew intent. And it's a fast-moving game. I don't think that the referee saw him, do 20 steps and eyeball this kid and make the hit. So the targeting might be a little excessive, but fortunately the Red Knight came off the ground. He walked off, and he looks like things are going to be fine, but we will lose whips after he serves his infraction, which is never helpful.
No.
And we just maybe considered halfway climbing back into this.
Yeah, didn't it? Did it feel like Tommy Meisner had made a great defensive play? We got possession. It's like, hey, all right, let's do something here. And look, I don't think that was intentional on Tanner Whip's part at all. I think, unfortunately, we just handed a whole ton. We kind of poked the hornet's nest, right?
Yeah, because it's difficult, first of all, with a 3-minute non-releasable, but you definitely have every player and fan and wearing red kind of wound up here as quarter number 3 comes to an end. And we'll probably be on the short side for about 2 minutes, maybe,
probably
of the fourth quarter.
Two, and it was about 30 seconds left. So, well, let's get back to what happened in a moment. But we need to do senior spotlight number 2. We need to cover this and catch up. So our second senior spotlight of the night, of course, we covered Soren Thrall between the first and the third. Let's cover Eli Dolney here. So Eli's been a 3-year varsity player here. He was a member of the 2017 state championship team. He also was a member of the Eagan High School hockey team for the past 3 years, starting defenseman. Good player, so parents are John and Jody. Like I mentioned, Eli played hockey, also participated in the Science Olympiad, been a 3-year member of the lacrosse team. A solid defender for the program here. When you watch on tape, it's like Eli's a strong kid, got wide shoulders, can get in the way and play a really aggressive style of defense. Has picked up a ton of ground balls this year. I last check it was like up in the 40s or 50s. Some great numbers. So doing a nice job picking up loose balls and a lot of great contributions to the Wildcat program. I had an opportunity this past winter. I moonlight as a hockey official, and I had an opportunity to work with Eli a couple times, and he does a fantastic job officiating. And one of the challenges of doing that when you're in high school is there's adult coaches, and sometimes you'll see that those coaches try to take advantage of the younger kids. And Eli has such a great way with people, a good personality, kind of a non-confrontational personality in the way he interacts with people, makes him approachable, and you certainly see that, particularly in that situation when he's working with coaches and players, and just an easy guy to get along with. I enjoyed my time officiating with him, and one of the more well-liked Wildcats on the team here. So he'll go to the University of North Dakota in the fall. Eli, it's been great. Thanks for your contributions on the rink and on the lacrosse field here, and we wish you the best of luck as you move forward.
Nicely done, Scott. 12 minutes remaining in this contest. Cats are down 11-5. Fourth quarter getting underway. If you're just tuning in, you missed a kind of a big round of penalties enforced against Tanner Whips. Took a 3-minute non-releasable with an ejection for illegal body check, contact to the head, and targeting. None of which it was a big hit, and the player was down. Fortunately, he got up. I think the box here maybe. We have a hard time determining intent, like maybe the referees do down there as far as the targeting goes. So the Cats got about 2 minutes possibly where they're going to be down a man, and then Mr. Whips will have to lay his stick down for the balance of the night here as the Cats are down. A man here, and they're this non-releasable penalty situation.
So we don't have the ability to do replay here. No, certainly when we go home tonight, we'll slow it down and watch it a little bit. And the officials are seeing it in live speed, but I saw two players going for the ball, and unfortunately, I believe it was Patty Burns, who was the Benilde player. He was leaning down, and right at the moment he leaned down, they met, and I saw Tanner making a play on the ball. It just looked bad, and the way Patty's head bounced back and hit the ground, it looked worse than it was. And
I mean, that can't be the determinant of targeting simply because it was kind of a vicious landing. He could have slipped on bad grass and fallen just as kind of awkwardly. So again, he took a big hit. Fortunately, he got up. Unfortunately, Mr. Whips is done for the night. And we are down for about another minute or so, we believe, on the man down, non-releasable.
Hey,
nice stick up by Meisinger. He really does move that stick around nicely. The defense is looking pretty good right now in this. And maybe Benilde's not pushing the issue. They're content to play it out a little bit. They're running out of time on their man up, which is fine.
So 9:41 is the end of the penalty.
Big save by Wallach. Gallus picks it up. Let's see now if we can't. 9:41, so about a minute now. And again, too, one of those situations where you're hoping.
Big save by Jack Keller. Again, another breakaway, and again, a lot of time. Colbert had a lot of time to think about it, and Keller made a save, right? What can you do?
We clearly have. The goalies that we've drawn against in the last several weeks have all had big nights, and that was a pretty good save at point blank.
Yeah, and this situation, that's Jack Banuski putting that one back. Jack Keller's a great goalie. I think he's doing what he normally does, and he actually is maybe letting a few more in than he normally does tonight. But made a stop there. So
12-5, Benilde. 9:41 will be the release of the man down situation. 10:01 at the moment remaining. Quarter number 4. Cats are down.
Boy, all these little things as I'm thinking back through the game here is, could we have, would have, could have, should have, right? We had a couple of those 1-on-0s. What if you convert those? What if even a quarter of those turnovers that you created, you could have converted goals? You're looking at a 12-11, 12-10 game, and I again, it's in the past, it isn't, but that's the story of the game here. Failure to convert on the opportunities.
Yeah, and you don't want to take anything away from Benilde. They've
really
they've controlled the vast majority, as it looks like that was Meisinger who gets the face-off win. We can't take too much away from. There's a quick shot in the goal.
Wilson.
That's Meisinger dishing it off to Wilson for the goal. And shorthanded, too, for the Cats. So Meisinger in the circle, taking the face-off, and with the long stick, no less, I believe. No, he's got a short stick, I think.
Hey, maybe.
Boy, it's just long stick.
You don't. Yeah, I at this point, whatever works, because, there's been, 17, 18, 19 face-offs. I think we've won one.
And we might have just seen it if that was the
No,
one.
there was one early, and it wasn't. I think one earlier, and this one, and you're talking. You can't go through a game and win. What would that be, like less than 10% of your face-offs?
So the
or
Red
a little
Knights,
bit more actually.
They have really had a distinct advantage in time of possession. So again, you talk about some of the things that could have happened had we converted, but the game would be much more manageable at this point. We might be down 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, and it's a all of a sudden it's a whole different ball game, right?
Drew Wilson, the assist number 6.
Coming up here now, we're back at full strength.
Time of the goal, fourth quarter, 9:51 remaining.
No, great.
No goal, crease violation. Crease violation. Zach Wallach looking and looking off to Gallus, who's going to try to get the mid-stripe here pretty quickly. He fires across the middle to Meisinger.
Another
Kind of-
miscue.
Yeah, a little off the money there, but we may have a favor done because the Red Knights are having a hard time maintaining possession, and there's an awful lot of gray jerseys. Wilson comes up with it, and the Cats should slow it down with 9:11 left to go in quarter number 4.
So again, can the Cats establish any kind of momentum here to carry over into Tuesday's game and then Thursday's game at Eastview? Need to get something positive out of the last 9 minutes of the game here. And if that's maintaining possession, if that's not turning the ball over, great.
Down on the fence.
Yeah, again, we talked earlier, this game would be great to climb back into, but, right now at the moment we're down 6 with 8:30 to play in the fourth quarter here. We're kind of playing just to get our heads screwed back on straight as we get that last stretch of games, which really do mean a considerably big save by the Benilde goaltender. Sorensen trying to get back in position here as there's a little bit of a break by the Red Knights. Now Stone came flying in from behind with a big hack of the stick. Benilde's going to slow it down, and they're at that point now where we might see that pace of play slow down considerably.
Yeah, I think we will, and I would imagine at some point here we might, see them go a little more deeper in the bench. I mean, for the most part, not exclusively, most of their starters are still out there. Yeah, I think if the coaching staff, the team, us watch the game film, it's like, wow, we had some opportunities to be in this game.
Yep, I think that's going to be what comes through most apparently, that we're still operating under that pretense of not being able to put a complete game together. And that's tough. You can't beat teams like Benilde when you aren't hitting on at least the majority of the cylinders.
Yeah.
We know the face-off thing is going to be an issue, and we're making some pronounced efforts to kind of fix that.
Yeah, but and you know what, people, for the people that are tuning in and listening to us, they're probably hearing us. We're talking a lot about, not just this game or the last game, but all the games. We spend a lot of time talking about the defense, and please understand, it sounds like we're putting some pressure on the defense. We're not. The stark reality is 75% of the game they're playing. Right there, they're another turnover. They're spending way too. They're just 75% of the game is in our end, and a couple things happen that they get tired. Our offense doesn't have possession enough, and they can't get in a rhythm and can't get a flow down. And I don't know. We're about completing our 10th game, Ken, and the number one, if we go back to our themes for the season from April, face-offs, number 1, possession, number 2. And those haven't gone away yet.
No, they haven't. And they can kind of aggregate other problems because when you are trying to play from behind, but you can't win face-offs, you're trying to play from behind, and you can't capitalize on different things. Nice stick by Rader to break up a pass, half lost the footing, trying to find some outlet over to Merwin. And they're looking. Merwin back to the middle to Meisinger. Gets the midline by getting it upfield to what I believe is Sorensen. Little half pick there by Colbert. Back to Colbert. The touch.
So again, and you put such a, when you can't win the faceoffs, the pressure you put on your defense and your goalie is incredible. And you even put a lot of pressure on the offense because, yeah, you guys are only going to have the ball, 10 minutes out of a 48-minute game.
Right.
Good luck. Make everything count. You better not drop
Absolutely.
the ball. You better not miss a shot. And that's a lot of pressure.
Well, it definitely makes every possession more important, clearly.
Yep.
Cats did get lucky there and picked one up. It looks like Wilson's trying to find some room, wants to take matters into his own hands. Finds Colbert
got one.
on the doorstep, and that's going to be a goal. Looks like it's 2. Ryan Colbert from Drew Wilson, 12-7 Benilde. And again, too, if we can force a couple turnovers, if we can at least capitalize on the ones that we do force, if we can squeeze in another goal, on paper, on the scoreboard, the game looks reasonably close. I think
Yep.
anyone that watched it would say we were markedly behind in face-off wins, we're markedly behind in time of possession. But we might leave the field tonight with some semblance of, hey, we've got work to do clearly.
Yep.
The players, I think, need to come together and decide how these next 3 weeks are going to play out. And again, too,
Yeah.
you have to do a gut check, and this might be, after this game, it will clearly be gut check time.
Yeah, and you know what? We've seen teams lose a couple games and go on a run. So, this Benilde squad in 2017, they lost 2 games in May, I think in the second week of May, and they made it to the state championship game because they put it all together. And, ironically enough, so let's talk about Benilde here. Their last regular season loss was on May 16th of 2017. That was a 2-game losing streak. Since that time, they haven't lost a regular season game. So, again, you can lose a couple games. You can bounce back.
Big save.
In both of Prior Lakes championship seasons recently, they had some tough, bumpy spots, and they came back around and they responded. You got to focus on moving forward now.
So a flag on Merwin, body check, I believe. We'll see.
Eagan penalty for illegal body check for a minute.
Yeah, it's you want to see the kids be able to throw their bodies around.
Yeah.
I think after the whips penalty, clearly the refs might let those flags dangle a little bit closer to the outside of their pockets. Red Knights go up. It's 12-7 as they go a man up.
So
Just
you want
4 minutes remaining.
to have a good man down here. Again, see what you can do in the last 4 minutes. Again, we got to keep talking about it. The players have to come away from this game and say, okay, forget about the last week. Forget about it. We got to move forward, and the season's not over.
5, assist to 1.
That was Dowden again on the goal, his third of the night. So how do you? It's about moving forward. It's about and you got to learn from this. You got to watch this tape and talk about how close you were, the opportunities you had, and how they kind of slipped away. There was an opportunity to be competitive and be involved in this game, be in this game. Got to go forward now. Rosemount, Eastview, Prior Lake, win the conference, get a seed, and move on and go win your next 6 games. And again, that's going to be a challenge mentally after the last couple games, I think. But you got to find a way to do it. You don't. I don't think you'd give up on the season yet. You can't. You can't mail it in. There's too many good things that can yet happen.
Yeah, clearly, like you say, there's everything that they set out to do is effectively still on the table.
It's his third goal of the game. Number 5, Matt Dowden. The assist to number 1, Jack Van Overbeck. Time of the goal.
Dowden is certainly active. You see a sophomore coming in on this type of roster and contributing, and big part of the team. He's taken some shots, got 3 goals tonight. Again, nice player. So, again, finished strong these last 3 minutes, and it's all about Rosemount now on Tuesday night.
Yep.
And look, you know what? That's a rivalry game, right? They're our neighbors to the south. A lot of the kids know each other. They were pretty highly touted coming into the year. They were at one point number 4 in the rankings. I think they're 4-3 now, or 4-4. They've had not exactly how they wanted their season to pan out. It's a chance for us to win a rivalry game,
And probably a winnable game.
yeah. And then you know what? Here's how you build this and play this out. On Thursday night, the last time we beat Eastview was in 2014. Okay, you pump that up and say, come on, it's our time. Let's beat ECU for the first time since 2014. You do that, you come to Tuesday, May 21st. At Wildcat Stadium, it's effectively the South Suburban Conference Championship game.
Yep.
And so, provided that Prior Lake takes care of business too, but I think that's how you got to frame it up, right? Every game's big, every game's important. There's something on the line. Take it to Rosemount, beat ECU for the first time in 5 years, and walk off this field as conference champions after you beat Prior Lake.
Just over 2 minutes remaining in this one. 13-7 Wildcats down to the Red Knights here at Wildcat Stadium.
Nope. You know, it's one of those things you rarely see that apply anymore.
Used to be all the time.
Yeah.
Cats with kind of an extended possession.
Shot 20.
Shot taken by Ben Willery, number 20.
So a little bit of a scrum down there in front of the net as we come inside 2 minutes.
Can do that. If it's
Colbert comes up with it. Schultz looking to get creative here.
150 remaining.
Another one of those bounce shots goes just a bit wide.
number 8, possession Wildcats.
So finished strong here. You know, again, Ken, I've said this a couple times before, but I would have thought 7 goals might have been enough to keep this close tonight. You know, getting 7 goals against this defense, against Jack Keller, a good goalie. It's accomplishment, right? I'm looking down. Another big save by Jack. Hey, you know what? Look, trying to come up with some positives here. Their opponents have scored 0, 6, 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. So Eastridge was the team who scored 6. Prior Lake only managed 3. Chanhassen only managed 4. So that's something you can take away from this game.
There's an offsides against
it's gonna be Dowden again. He's got his hands up in the air. It's like, son, maybe he's looking at the football 50-yard stripe
He
that's
could be.
emblazoned into the ground there, and not the newly painted white
right.
stripe.
Shot score by Stone. 49 seconds remaining in this contest. It's 13-8. Flag will be picked up.
So I think, you know, despite all the ongoings of the coaching staff, team's like, hey, we put in 8 goals against Benilde. Nobody's done that yet, right?
Despite all of the inability to capitalize on some of the possessions that we backed into. So, you know, you hit on a few more cylinders, and it's a different game, clearly. Again, aside from time of possession and what you see on the scoreboard, again, you erase some of the inopportunities to capitalize, and things are looking a little bit different. So number 25.
Spencer Starkey.
Spencer Starkey maybe in the middle there for the Wildcats.
So maybe, you know what, we haven't done enough football analogies yet this year, and maybe what this game feels like is we lost 28-10, and we had the ball inside their 30-yard line 7 times and only got 1 field goal out of it. That's kind of what this feels like,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
does.
The opportunity was there, and you know, with the 3-minute penalty where we were man down, I think they scored a couple there. We couldn't convert on our 3-man ups. We turned the ball over pretty quickly on all of them, and so many things, right? But we got in the red zone, and no pun intended playing the Red Knights here, but we just couldn't convert our opportunities.
A late goal for the Red Knights makes it.
On the assist, I thought that was 18 on the assist.
I would concur.
So we'll fall to 7-3.
Yes.
It's about putting this behind going forward, because if we come out of here and we mope and we feel sorry for ourselves and talk about the season being done, we're going to be 7-6, and this team is better than that.
I would agree 100%. So at this point, it's a bootstrap type moment. You know, leadership on the team, both on the field and from the top, needs to just kind of, you know, rally the troops and do what they can do to survive this little run of bad luck. And again, too, it hasn't been like they've given these games away without a fight. but clearly they're running on about 3/4 power right now, as they're not converting. They're making unforced errors, and they're not taking advantage of when teams give them opportunities. So
Yeah, and you know, I think probably 25 faceoffs in the game. I think we won 2, maybe 3. That's a 90% face-off win percent for your opponent. That's, gosh, again, at the start of the telecast, we said, if we can win 25, what if we can win 25? That would have made a huge difference in this game.
Yep. So here we are. We take the visiting Red Knights. We'll take a win out of Wildcat Stadium tonight. The Cats will regroup, and we will get ready for a run starting on Tuesday, where we go to
Rosemount.
We're in Rosemount.
Yeah, we're at Rosemount. on
Eagan
Tuesday.
TV, our friends from Eagan TV will be helping us out with that broadcast. So the team will kind of reevaluate a few things, and they'll show up in Rosemount, and we'll be there with you, courtesy of Eagan TV. This is Ken and Scott, Jesse on the roof, and I think that's all from Wildcat Stadium. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you on Tuesday.